all the news that's going on, there are so many little fine points that are probably getting lost on a lot of folks. For instance, I don't know if you had the chance to watch any of the former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates' testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee last week. Yeah, it didn't make big news. And, of course, you had guys like Lindsey Graham. Now, Josh Hawley did a pretty good job with her. But Lindsey Graham, I mean, he's not a terrible questioner. He's like almost like a lawyer, Lindsey Graham is. And, however, a lot of us have a problem with Lindsey Graham because of his lack of action. First of all, why did he wait so long to even get this process started? He's waited so long it can't finish before the election. And don't think that's not by design.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't want this process to proceed. He doesn't want the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence to be exposed for what they were doing. They leaked the FISA app through their head of security, James Wolfe. Remember, he was indicted for making a false statement, which was a gimme, because what he actually did was he leaked the Carter Page FISA app to his girlfriend, that reporter, Allie Watkins, who parlayed that into a nice position. I think it was with the New York Times, parlayed the leaked FISA application. And, of course, they had that stuff for years before they admitted, and there's a whole story there. That's not where we want to go with it. What I thought was interesting about her testimony, a couple things. I mean, she seemed to be oblivious. You know, she pulled the same lines that, like, Rod Rosenstein uses, like, the Justice Department is 115,000 men and women, hardworking men and women. You know, and I'm just at the head of it. Kind of, how could I possibly know what was going on throughout the organization? And that was basically her tone in a lot of the hearing. In fact, she was so oblivious to what was going on. I thought Devin Nunes, Congressman Nunes from California, had a pretty funny comment about it after the fact.
This is like the most oblivious Deputy Attorney General in U.S. history.
I love Devin Nunes. He speaks the truth, and he just throws it out there, and he's exactly right. She was totally oblivious. The most notable thing she said, though, and this is worthy of note, is she threw James Comey under the bus for that interview where he sent a couple of agents over to interview Michael Flynn. Remember how the whole Flynn case got started, although they were investigating him before that. But remember, the entire case they ended up bringing against him was based on his supposed false statements in that interview in early January 2017. And, of course, the reality is the agents that went over didn't end up thinking he made any false statements. We're not even sure he made any false statements. He didn't have the transcript. They did. But remember, that was an operation where James Comey said he thought he'd just send a couple of guys over. And Sally Yates had an interesting comment on that when pressed. She said Comey went rogue. I want you to listen to this.
Here's what I want to understand. It's a counterintelligence investigation that led to the interview. You didn't authorize the interview. As a matter of fact, you wanted to go to the White House and tell them about the problem, didn't you?
That's right. I did. I thought that was the more immediate issue.
And when you heard about the interview, you got upset, didn't you?
I was upset that Director Comey didn't coordinate that with us and acted unilaterally. Yes, I was.
Okay. Did Comey go rogue?
You could use that term, yes.
That's a pretty bold statement there. It looks like
an interesting answer.
They're starting to hang Comey out to dry a little bit. Now, I want you to notice a difference in style between the Republicans. And, of course, you got the Senate versus the House, and the Senate always pretends to be more dignified. But I'm surprised we didn't hear one time our favorite phrase from last week, reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. And I did talk to somebody about that reclaiming my time nonsense who's very well versed on Robert's Rules of Order. And he said reclaiming your time is actually something that you use under Robert's Rules when you have yielded your time to somebody else. It is not appropriate for use in a question and answer situation. So actually the way the Democrats in the House were using the reclaiming my time was totally wrong under Robert's Rules of Order. But that's probably a longer story for another day and for people who wonk out on things like Robert's Rules of Order. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.